Hi, and welcome back. Today, I am going to be working on something a little different than what I have done in the past. I am going to do a piece on this watercolor paper, and in the end, I'm going to be cutting it all up. So you will see what we do here at the end of this video and what I'm making. I pulled out several supplies to do the underpainting. I have some watercolor paints, some wash paints, India ink. I have some spray alcohol, although I believe my India ink is water-based, some stained papers and printed papers, and I'm just going to start putting this piece together with the intent to put encaustic over it here down the road. This video is long if I left it in its real time, um, and it's really just me intuitively painting with these different colors and collaging things together. So I do have it sped up quite a bit. Hopefully that won't become a problem, but figured it would be a little bit boring to watch it in real time. These Marabou art crayons are absolutely wonderful if you've never used them. Um, the texture is so buttery, it just glides on very easily, and it is water-based, so water will act as a blending medium for it, and obviously, as you can see here, you can smooth it and move it around as you need. But you do need to keep that in mind if you're making a line that you don't want to move, um, because it will smear. I got this kit of Winsor and Newton, I believe, watercolor paints on sale. It's considered, I believe, a travel kit. Um, but I've never had fancy watercolor paints like these before. They're solid, and each of the little containers has the name of what they are on it if you're not familiar with that. So it's kind of nice. You can pick them up and look at them to see what the colors are if you need to. But I usually just mix them in the lid, as you can see here. When I do watercolor underpaintings, I really like to have a wash of more than a solid color. So I tend to really mix them up and water them down and create a lot of a wash hint of a color. At this point, I'm just kind of filling in the negative space that I've created with the lines and the collage. Just kind of intuitively picking colors, creating shades and tones, trying to have some more intense colors versus some lighter colors. At this point, I decided to add some of that yellow India ink and kind of punch up that yellow a little bit. I really like how that turned out. I'm using a charcoal pencil and also a graphite pencil to add some fine line work here in at this point. Again, some kind of random lines, but then also some pattern lines. Oftentimes, I like to take different items I have laying around and use them as a type of stencil. Um, I like to make these circles. Often, you'll see them in my work where I'm just putting some paint on the paintbrush. I'll do this with acrylic, watercolor, and then just spin it around in there to make these kind of shaded circles. At this point, I'm going to let this dry overnight, actually a day or two. I went ahead and brought in some chalk paint and I'm going to water it down, make a wash with it, and see if I can blend some of my collage work in a little bit more. At this point, I had my encaustic ready to go, but I needed that to be fully dry before I could apply the encaustic. So I was just using my heat gun here and some time to make sure I got that good and dry. And then as you can see, I went ahead and started applying the encaustic. My little embossing heat gun is getting tired, so it doesn't heat as well as it used to. I've got a new one at the ready, but just haven't pulled it out of the box yet. So it does take me a little longer to get things fused sometimes than maybe what I would like. Because my paper was warping a little bit, the encaustic wasn't going on quite as evenly as I would have hoped, so I had to go ahead and apply a couple layers and go different directions to get a good base coat of it down there. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and apply some pan pastel to some areas of the painting. Again, just trying to create some more contrast and stronger color in the piece. I'm using a little triangle makeup sponge in order to apply that that pen pastel onto the encaustic. Once you get it on there the way you'd like, it is important to give it a light fuse. In areas where the pan pastel is thick, if you fuse too long, it will crack, and sometimes that's a really neat effect. But just be aware of that as you are fusing the pan pastel. I went ahead and added another layer of encaustic over the pan pastel just to help it stay secure in its placement. And now after it's cooled slightly, I went ahead and took some of my tools and made some marks. And now I'm applying a tar and vegetable oil mixture over those marks so that it will pick up the color of the tar. It's a process called incising for people who may not be familiar with it, and it's one of my most favorite things to do with encaustic. Once you have a generous layer of the mixture onto those marks and you've pushed it in everywhere you'd like, then you can just take a dry paper towel or shop rag and clean off the excess oil and tar mixture. And then sometimes if it's not coming off as much as you'd like, you can add a little bit more vegetable oil and that will help clear it off. Well, here's the crazy part of the process. I decided to make some magnets. So I've got this piece done to where I wanted it, and now I am going to actually just cut it up. By turning it over, I really don't know what side I'm cutting or what pieces I'm cutting out. But I measure this off to match the size of the magnet that I have and cut those pieces. And then as you'll see, I'll go ahead and place them onto the sticky magnets and finish them. I add a little bit of finishing touches to the pieces. This is a neat tool that another artist let me know about. If you're interested in it, leave me a comment and I can let you know what it is. And it embosses stuff on there, and it's a great way to get some accent marks onto your pieces. These make great thank you gifts. If you have a buyer that's buying your art, you can send them out as a thank you or give them away as gifts. But they are a fun way to create art and then be able to use it as a magnet. I hope that you have enjoyed this process. It's something a little different from what I have been doing. Um, Leave me a comment and let me know what you think about it. And as always, thank you for joining. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so already.